Hi, it's Claire, and welcome back to my channel. I'm here with teen author Briar Esterline, who is getting ready to publish a debut young adult supernatural thriller in August. We are going to talk all about self-publishing a book as a teen, how to do it, how to market, and all of the nitty-gritty stuff involved with that. I was a teen author myself and published my debut novel when I was 16. For me, publishing a book as a teen was an incredible experience, so I'm really excited to have this conversation today and to pick Briar's brain. So please join me in welcoming Briar Esterline to the channel. Briar, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, so why don't you start by introducing yourself and tell everyone a little bit about who you are and what you like to write.
Okay. My name is Briar Esterline, and I love to write like a young adult. I love to write thrillers, supernatural, horror, all that. Very much thing that has like a Stephen King type of charm to it. It's kind of my inspiration. And yeah, I do some fantasy sometimes too, but I'm more of a more suspenseful driven person when I write.
Yeah, suspense is awesome. I love writing scary stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when did you start writing?
I've been writing since I was like 8 years old, and it was very carefree. I wrote a lot about like pirates and dinosaurs and typical little kid stuff. But from there it just kind of grew. Like I've matured more in my writing the older I got and learned more about what a story is. It's not just words on paper. It's a plot and arcs and stuff. But yeah, I started pretty young. I knew I wanted to be a writer since I was like super young.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, that's like a very traditional like writer thing. Like I feel like a lot of us, like as long as I can remember.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What writing software do you like to use to write?
I used Google Docs for a little bit, but then I invested in Scrivener. So I use Scrivener now, and I absolutely I adore it. I love Scrivener.
Yeah, no, me too. Scrivener is my favorite. I love using it to draft because they have the little project tracker on it and you can see, yeah,
It makes me feel better about what I'm writing.
Exactly. And then especially when you're drafting, you can just put it in a folder and move on to the next thing and you don't have to think about it or see it.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's a lifesaver.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when did you decide that you wanted to publish a book?
I'd say when I was like 11, I wrote a couple stories. I wrote like a novel. It was like 200 pages at most. And I finally learned that I could put it out there for people to see. So I was really excited. And obviously I didn't go through with it at that age. But yeah, I think that's when I first decided I wanted to write something that could be read by everybody.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So being a teenager comes with a lot of responsibilities. And I know that a lot of teen authors have said in the past that it's really difficult to balance life stuff with writing stuff and finding time to write with, jobs and school and extracurriculars and things like that. How did you, as a teen, find the time to really dedicate yourself to writing a novel?
I mainly write at night, because nighttime has always been my time that I don't have any responsibilities or any obligations to life. So I usually did a lot of that, but I wrote where I could, basically. Like after school, if I finished school earlier, I would write, or if I had some downtime, I would write. It was more about just finding the time to write, especially now I have a job and stuff. I'm 17, I have to make an income. So I mainly find my time most at night or when I come home for lunch or something.
Do you have any coping strategies that you use to try to manage your energy levels? Like if you come back from work and feeling really exhausted and down, are there any ways that you can get into the flow state or ways that you manage your sleep?
Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee. Music has always been my biggest crutch when it comes to writing. If I write without music, it tends to it shows through my writing because I'm not inspired. I like to have some type of atmospheric soundtrack or artist playing in my head while I write. That's been my biggest coping strategies for as long as I can remember when I write.
Yeah, no, I love listening. I take soundtracks that are similar in the genre that I'm writing. Like I'll write to the Stranger Things soundtrack or different horror movie soundtracks.
Yeah, my biggest were the Stranger Things soundtrack and the It soundtrack. When I was writing my book.
Soundtrack is so good.
Movie soundtracks really are underappreciated.
Yeah, no,
they're
agreed.
inspiring.
Yeah, because I always find that when I write with lyrics, it's sometimes hard for me to concentrate, but especially when you're writing to soundtracks, it just puts you in the headspace of writing something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's the back burner of your head while you're writing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you're publishing your book in August. That's super exciting. What is Ablem Sanctuary about? Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about it?
Ablem Sanctuary is a young adult thriller, supernatural thriller set in the 90s, the mid 90s. And it has kind of an undertone of Stranger Things or something that Stephen King would write. It's about a group of kids that basically try and stop the supernatural force of evil from taking over their hometown. And it kind of centers on the main character. He's an outsider to the town. He's moved there after experiencing a really devastating loss. And so it's really interesting to see how his like grief tends to make decisions for him, you know, and how he interacts with the rest, and how his grief and panic attacks and stuff, they lead him into dangerous situations. So it's basic, it's a big like a mystery, big group, large cast of characters, and kind of has that coming of age, like child innocence to it.
Yeah. No, I was lucky enough to have already been able to read it, and just the way that you are able to handle this question of grief and the way that people process grief, and especially young like teenagers process grief, I thought was really, really amazing, and the way that it can kind of dictate their reactions to things. So no, it was incredibly well done.
Thank you. I was really honored to have you read it. So
And I enjoyed every second. I flew through it. It was really, really great. What made you decide to publish it?
it started as just a side project, and then I realized one day it just clicked that I loved these characters, and I loved the progression they go through, and I loved the heartbreak and laughter that all of them share. I just decided that it was something I didn't want to keep to myself. I wanted to put it out there because it's the biggest theme is loneliness, and I was going through a very long stretch of loneliness at the time, and I wanted it to connect to other people who might feel the same way. Mm-hmm. And kind of live vicariously through a group of characters that they might not have had growing up. So that was the biggest like drive that pushed me to want to publish the book.
Right. And this was not your first novel, right? You'd written some other ones before?
Yes. I mean, this is my first like officially published, but before it was like I did write like 2 other novels before, and they're still on my computer and everything, but I hope they never see the light of day because they were stepping stones to Ablem Sanctuary today. I'm really proud of them in a weird way, but yes, this isn't my first one.
Well, I mean, it goes to show how important it is to write a lot and just start kind of putting your pen to paper and growing as a writer, because there's no other way to get better unless you're actually actively writing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's good that you start young, because then you can get really good early because you got all those hours under your belt.
For sure, I agree.
Yeah, so transitioning now a little bit into more of the nitty-gritty publishing stuff, I asked a question on Instagram yesterday and asked the teen authors that follow me what questions they have for a fellow teen author who's actually publishing a book. And most of the questions followed or asked about how to actually do it. Like, how do you sit down and publish a book, the methods that you use. So how are you publishing Ablem Sanctuary?
Going through Amazon for this, mainly because I did look into Ingram Spark and all those other ones, but I really mainly liked how Kindle has a bigger network. Everyone uses Amazon, and I could make it a paperback, which was the funnest thing because I could do it for no charge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm solely taking that route. I think in the future I'll try and branch out a little more, but for now I'm keeping it streamlined into Kindle KDP.
Yeah, Kindle has such a huge reach. Like, it's really a dominating force in publishing now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So how does, like, to the best of your knowledge, how does KDP work? Like, when you decide that you want to publish a book to KDP, what's the process like there?
You mainly have to, they already assign you a barcode and everything. You can get one that's solely works for Amazon. You really just have to have your formatted manuscript, a cover that fits the dimensions, a description, title, you know, all the basic stuff that lets people know what your book is about, who wrote it, who it might appeal to. And KDP tends to do the rest. Like, you can set the pricing, and they'll calculate the charges and stuff like that. And then it's print on demand, so you never run out of stock, and you don't have to order big bulky boxes of your book to sell out. So it's very helpful for people that want to start out with like cost-free publishing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And is the platform easy to use? Like, when you had to kind of upload your formatted manuscript and your cover and everything, did you encounter any problems, or is the interface pretty clean?
It's very user-friendly. The interface is very, it's not bulky, it's not cluttered, it's very appealing to the eye. For those people that go based off of cosmetics and aesthetics. It's a very clean website. I think the biggest issue I had was dimensions. That was the biggest thing that killed me, was because they're very precise on their dimensions on your cover, your formatted manuscript.
Right.
But overall, it was very easy to use. It's very it helps you. It guides you along in the process.
And I mean, when you're self-publishing, there are so many things that authors are expected to do themselves. You know, when you work through a traditional publisher, they can help you with the formatting and the cover design. But when you're self-publishing, you're kind of a one-man shop. So did you do everything yourself, or did you get help doing certain parts of it? I know you're a very talented artist, so your
Yeah,
cover was fantastic.
so much. I actually did a lot of it. I almost did all of it myself because I wanted to prove that you could, I mean, not prove, but I wanted to show that you could publish a quality book without having to spend hardly any money. Because I feel like that's the biggest thing that holds authors back from their potential is the money. And a lot of corporations tend to push that you need to spend money to publish a good book.
Mhm.
So I did design the cover by myself on Canva. It went through many revisions, but it finally fit the essence of the book. And I did that all for free. For formatting, I used my Apple Pages on my MacBook,
Mhm.
which was very experimental. I ran into a lot of issues with it. But yeah, overall, I did everything. I marketed, designed, wrote. I did have a critique partner for like the last few drafts to help me out, smooth out some wrinkles.
Mhm.
But overall, I was kind of a one-man shop. So
That's so impressive. It's
thank you.
so hard. Like the formatting alone is so difficult to do. I tried to
Absolutely.
format on Word and just ran into so many technical problems. I
Yeah,
couldn't figure out how to do it. Yeah.
it does get difficult. It's like the smallest thing, you ship the smallest thing and it's like it all messes up. That's why I say it's experimental, is you really have to know like what you're doing. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, once you do it, you get a skill and then you can figure out how to
Mhm.
do it on the other ones. I think
Yeah,
it's a
totally.
very
Mhm.
good thing to learn. Yeah, no, I mean, that's great that you were able to do it yourself to show that it's possible to do it yourself. Because I absolutely agree with you. Like there are people that are spending tons of money on editors and covers and all this stuff, and it can act as a barrier to entry. I feel like, especially to younger authors who want to publish. So it's very inspiring to hear that you were able to do it all by yourself.
Yes, I totally agree that I want everyone to feel like they don't have to break the bank in publishing their book.
So, what do you love about self-publishing?
I like the creative direction. I'm a big creative person. I know with the traditional publisher house, they tend to take it off your hands once you sign a contract. So with the cover and the formatting and everything and just the overall promotion, I was in control. And I think that's the biggest part, is for someone who wants to have a creative campaign, that's the funnest thing, is you get to guide where the story goes.
Mhm.
You're kind of in charge of it. So it doesn't become another industry book. It becomes like your project that you can make the story continue off the pages.
No, I mean, the control that you're able to retain is awesome. And especially if you're starting out and trying to grow a platform, you are able to control all aspects of the book. You can make it look exactly how you want. You can name it
Yep.
exactly what you want to. And then you also have access to all the different promotional tools that I think a lot of traditionally published authors don't have. Like they can't
Mhm.
control the pricing of their book, or they can't, run promotions on KDP the same way that self-published authors can. So you have a lot
Yeah.
more freedom.
Yes, that's what I like about it most.
How did you learn about self-publishing? Did you listen to podcasts, or were there resources that you recommend?
I did watch, I just did a lot of research. YouTube was my biggest thing. I did research a lot of self-published authors. One of my biggest was Jenna Moreci. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Oh yeah.
I've been a long time watcher, and she helped me a lot through marketing, publishing, writing your book, all that. So a lot of it was just here and there articles I have saved on my web browser and YouTube videos I've liked, and just that all kind of coagulated into a big, like my overall knowledge now of self-publishing.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it's amazing how many resources are out there. Jenna Moreci's channel is awesome. And I know she has some courses on Skillshare that I took a couple of months ago that were fantastic.
mhm.
And there's just a wealth of information. You have all the podcasts on Spotify, like Six Figure Authors or the Sell More Book Show, and just tons and tons of books out there too. So I think there are a lot of self-published authors who have figured it out and are sharing their knowledge.
Mhm.
Now, I guess we can shift into the marketing questions, because a lot of people were curious about marketing.
Uh-huh.
And it's a really hard thing because so many books are being published nowadays that it seems like writing a quality book is only the first step to getting people to read it. So
Absolutely.
how are you approaching marketing for Ablems? Do you have a strategy? Do you have things that you like to do?
Instagram is my biggest platform when it comes to marketing. I've made promotional pictures and stuff, quotes, character introduction, stuff like that, that I'm going to release periodically and up until the release. Um, a lot of it was just thinking creatively, getting that engagement. Like I have some quizzes that I've saved for after the book comes out, because I know everyone loves to do like a personality quiz and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's just word of mouth or promoting creatively, like attacking your promotional campaign from different angles. I don't really have a method. I mean, I hate to give that answer, but a lot of it's just thinking like outside the box, because that's what attracts people. And if you say, hey, here's my book, people are going to be like, oh, it's just another book. But if you intrigue them with the concepts, the aesthetics, the storyline, then they'll maybe be a little bit more hooked. So
Yeah.
I
And I
think
mean,
that's
quizzes are cool because they're able to be interactive and like people can,
absolutely
yeah, no, that's really
that
cool.
engagement. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you're also doing a lot of fan art and stuff like that, or, graphics and stickers and things relating to Ablems. Have you always liked to draw and do art as well?
It has been. There was a small period where I stopped drawing because I just fully converted over to writing.
Mhm.
And then I think over the pandemic, I just realized I really love to draw, and I got back into it, and I've gotten a lot better than I was like 5 months ago at it. Um, so it's always been a part of me as like a creative person, but it was something that I kind of put away for a little bit and then brought back out,
Mhm.
and found that I could incorporate it into my writing or making a platform and stuff. So it's always been a part of me.
I mean, it's an amazing skill to have. Like so many
Mhm.
authors pay lots of money to get fan art done for their books, and you
Yeah.
can, do it exactly the way that you want to because you have the skill set to, bring your vision to life. It's really pretty
Mhm.
incredible. Did you encounter any big challenges that when you were self-publishing?
Quite a few. I think the biggest challenges are mental, because you can find logistical issues and smooth them out real quick. But the biggest is I suffer from a lot of imposter syndrome. I
Mhm.
kind of wonder that, like, what if I'm fooling everyone into thinking I'm this great author? Because or I think another thing is people don't really take you seriously when you're a teenager who has a vision, because they don't believe in it. And it's kind of sad, but it also takes a lot of willpower to push through it and just be like, this is my vision. I want to release it into the world. So I'm going to do what it takes, even if I have to do it alone. So that I think the biggest issues are their mental roadblocks. It's people not believing you, people discouraging you, um, the world basically just throwing, you know, log after log, and you have to jump over it, you know. So I think that's the biggest challenges. And to this day, I'm still jumping over a lot of them, but it's gotten a lot easier if you
Mhm.
just get in that mindset of, if I have to do it alone, so be it. I want people to read this or view this or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, you really have to believe in your story to
mhm,
champion it, you know.
absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's very real. It's hard, especially when you're about to release a book into the world. It's really
Mhm.
scary.
It definitely is terrifying,
Yeah.
because you hate to hype it up, and then it just no one like it, or it doesn't reach your expectations and stuff like that. So there has to be some realism. I also believe that you can't expect it to be a bestseller
Mhm.
for self-publishing. You just have to trust that it gets in the right hands and change the right person's life.
I feel like every author has, a group of dedicated people who would love the thing that they love out there. You just have to find it. And like in order to build a career, all you need is like a small group of people who are like you and just love what you love. It doesn't have to be everybody.
Yes, it's being content with just a small group of fans being like, we love, your writing, your stories, your message. We want more.
And the beauty of self-publishing is you can really reach those readers very personally too. Like if you're, trying to make your book free for a couple of weeks to try to get as many people
Yeah.
as possible, and like you can
Mhm.
really get personal with the way that you connect with readers. Also on social media.
Yeah, I've always promoted myself as an author as like more of a friend than a figure. I don't want to be someone's figure. I want to be someone's friend. I always tell my followers or my fans, be like, hey, reach out to me if you ever want to talk, because like I want to remind them that I'm not above anyone just because I have a book out.
Mhm.
It's a passion project that I want to share with other people.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that gets lost nowadays. People think that they're above other people because they have something that everyone else loves.
I mean, at the end of the day, like a book that you love, that you wrote, and a reader loves and read, like that's something that you two share together. That's something that you have in common, and it's something that can bring you closer together instead of having an
Absolutely.
odd hierarchy
Yeah.
situation.
It's a bridge, like a bonding moment for you guys.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I mean, I think that's something a lot of people, as you said, don't pay enough attention to. It's all
Yeah,
about like building platform, but not really like making
exactly.
connections with people.
Mhm. It totally makes sense. Like it's a better way of thinking too. It's just
Mhm.
humanizing yourself and others.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you recommend just generally publishing a book as a teen to other teen authors?
I do. I do, but I also advise that they be ready for a lot of challenges
Mhm.
because I think the most important part of being a teen publisher or author, I guess, but publisher too, if you're self-publishing, is just if you're passionate about your project, you can put it out there for everyone to see, but you have to be ready for people to not like it, people to discredit you, people to say that, oh, you can't make it because you're too young, or this story blows. I think if you steel yourself against all the arrows that come your way, then I definitely say go for it because there is no age limit to publishing. Life's too short to wait for the right moment to publish your book.
I absolutely agree. I remember when I was publishing when I was 16, I got a lot of people saying, like, don't you think you're going to regret it in a couple of years? Like, you're going to look back on this book and be really embarrassed. And it's like, yes, okay, I can write better now than I could when I wrote my first book, but that doesn't mean that I feel any shame towards that book. Like, I'm very proud that I was able to put that out there, and that even though, not everyone loved it, but there were some people that really loved it. It's not this black cloud that hangs over my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
a very healthy mindset to develop because it's like even if, when I'm like in my middle 20s and someone's like, don't you ever regret putting Ablem Sanctuary out there? I'd be like, no, because even though I write better now, it was still reminds me of what got my foot in the door of this world.
mhm. No, exactly.
So
And it's something that you love too. It's like it's just the kind of story that you're really interested in. And if you can
mm,
find other readers that are also interested in that story, that's like connections that you can make. That's people that will probably like your later works too. You know,
yeah,
it's not a
uh,
harmful thing.
yes, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah. So are you working on any writing projects now?
I have a couple. I think the biggest thing was detaching myself from this book because I've been working on it for 2 years and starting something new. So I'm currently working on like 3 works in progress, but I'm really passionate about this post-apocalyptic one I'm kind of writing. I'm kind of feeling out the story and stuff, but um, it's looking good. If I can stick in it for 10,000 words, I know it's going to be a good story. I'm very passionate and hopeful that it'll come out and one day I can like announce it to people and show it and you know. So yeah, I have a couple things sitting on my plate.
Yeah. Are you more of a plotter or a pantser when you write? Do you like to outline stuff before?
Uh, I'm a hardcore plotter.
Same.
I always have to have, yeah, I have to have I use beat sheet method to save the cat. That was the biggest thing that helped me was like the beat sheet because whenever I have a new idea, I do the 15 points and I outline the story and see where I go from there. I have to have detailed character outlines. If not, I just end up having a character walk around 30 pages and it's boring and not fun.
Yeah.
So I'm a hardcore plotter.
Oh yeah, me too. It stresses me out when I reach points in my drafts that I haven't actually outlined yet. I have to like stop everything I'm doing and figure out what's gonna happen.
I agree. You kind of just have to, I just tend to skip over. I'll skip a whole scene and just pick up as if it already happened. It bothers me because I need to do everything chronologically. But
Yeah.
as a writer, the flow can't stop. I can't have the flow stop. So I gotta just go back to it.
How do you manage your like when you're drafting? Do you do like daily word counts every day or daily word counts every week? Is there a way that you're able to manage your progress?
I usually just write. I don't tend to. If I have an outcome for like if I have a 50,000 word novel I want to hit 50,000 words on, I'll put it in the thing, but I don't have daily or weekly word counts. I just kind of write until I feel the story's kind of I'll start strong and I'll just keep going until I start to feel it's kind of petering out. And then I'll take a break for the day or the night and tackle it again. So it's kind of a process. I think on average, I write like 500 to 2,000 words daily. It depends on the mood I'm in and the motivation and the music that's going, of course. Um, yeah, overall, I just kind of take it, I play it by ear.
I mean,
So
it's amazing that you're able to keep focus, like, and also do like 500 to 2,000 words a day on top of everything else. Like that's a really impressive word count, especially if you're not tracking it. I think there are a lot of people that get really worried about, daily word counts, and I personally like setting them just because it keeps me like on my schedule, because I like scheduling everything out. But that's not the only way to write, and you can write books without having daily word counts or like being really, really strict about your schedule.
I used to beat myself up over the word count. I'd be like, oh, the story's happening too fast. And then I'd be like, let the story run, like just run with it. Don't have to restrict it to a certain word count or page. I used to do that a lot. I was very analytical with my writing, but now I've learned to just be open to where the story will go. Sometimes I'll be writing halfway and realize that something I plotted 2 weeks earlier doesn't fit now, so I go in and I rework it, and it's just being experimental, I guess, in the early stages of the drafting.
Yeah, no, that's super important. I like also exploring and just being able to see where the characters want to go and what they want to do when you're writing.
Yeah, really fun.
Yeah. So do you have any last pieces of advice for teen writers who want to publish?
I do. I have one, and I say this like I can back this up 100%. I would tell them, don't rely on more powerful people to achieve your dreams for you. And I know that sounds super cheesy, but I do think that nowadays we tend to think that you can really only achieve what you want to do if you go through a big publishing house or, this acting agency. Like, I think if you just take it by the horns and run with it, or like wait for it to do something, you can actually, because even if you go nowhere, you still can be confident that you're with the project,
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell them. I would tell them, just don't wait for bigger, more powerful, more rich people to do something for you. If you have an idea, stick to it, commit to it 100%, and you'll be so proud of yourself.
Yeah, no, that's really great. It's about like dedication and persistence. It's like you just have to stick with it and really go after what you want.
You have to believe in your story before anyone else. If you act like it's a big deal, that's all that matters, because soon people will back you up and be like, yeah, it's a big deal. So have confidence in what you're putting out there in the world, and it'll be given back to you.
Yeah, well, that's really great. So those are all of the questions that I have. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. Do you want to tell people where they can find you online?
Yeah, for sure. I'm on Instagram at Briar Esterline official. It's pretty straightforward. I have a website through Wix. It's just my name, briaresterline.wix.com. And I have a Facebook page, once again, just my name after it. So those are like my 3 main points of contact, or following, or just whatever.
And when is Ablem Sanctuary coming out?
It's coming out on 19th on ebook and paperback, and pre-order for the ebook will come out July 9th. So a whole month and a half before.
Yeah, well, that is coming up soon. It's like only a couple weeks away.
I know. It's so surprising, because it was originally going to be in September, and then I was like, I forgot I was in control and just wanted it before. And it actually can be added on Goodreads now. I do believe I put it on Goodreads a couple weeks ago. So if anyone wants to be up to date when it comes out, they can just add it on Goodreads and stuff like that.
Cool. Well, thank you again for chatting with me today. Awesome. And yeah, we'll end the video.